Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Lori. This is Ask Dr. Lori Live. I'm the PhD Antiques Appraiser. I'm talking about jewelry tonight, what to look for. I'm taking your jewelry questions, but I want you to know what to look for. So where do you look on a bracelet? What does the clasp have to tell you? What are all those different marks? And don't forget, you got to know the materials. I'm going to teach you all of it tonight. So know what to look for. Not only pearls, I teach you that in a lot of videos, but a lot of different types of pieces. Look for brand names, but there's more to look for than just that. What are your questions? I'm waiting to hear from you. So a couple of different things I want you to remember. Today, I had a video call, for example, and one of my clients on the video call, I'm glad you got the loop. I'm happy that you're looking at some Hallmarks and other types of things. The loop is very, very helpful. The loop is here, and don't forget to use it. Don't forget to get it. You can get it on our on the shopping page. But the loop is going to help you. But what also is going to help you if you know and can recognize different materials and how different materials have been, in fact, altered. Costume jewelry, a lot of different alterations on different materials. So I want to teach you how to identify those. I'm looking for your questions. And this is Ask Dr. Lori. I'm happy to be with all of you tonight. So thanks for being here. Remember, I don't know what's coming. For example, on another video, I taught you about how to identify real pearls from, of course, faux or fake pearls or synthetic pearls, pearls that you'll see costume jewelry pearls. And that little shot right there is one that has helped a lot of you, you've told me, in looking at those videos. All my jewelry videos are available, of course, and use the binge link. Don't forget to use the binge link. When you look at this particular piece tells you a lot about this pearl necklace. First of all, you'll notice that it's not individually knotted. That should be one of the things that you look for. I want you to look for an individual knot in between each pearl. I want you to look for size of the pearls too. Don't forget about millimeters, and the size of the pearls is going to impact value. Luster is going to impact value too. But a lot of information there about pearls on, of course, other videos. How do you recommend costume jewelry be cleaned? Okay, really good question, Rachel. First of all, costume jewelry can be cleaned, but you want to be careful how you do it. I like a white cotton cloth. White cotton cloth. When you start to introduce different types of cleaners, different types of liquid cleaners, then you're going to have a little bit more problem. I've had a lot of people who have told me that verdigris, that green color, for example, that starts to come on these particular pieces of costume jewelry can be very difficult to take off. And I've told many of my clients to start first with the white cotton cloth. See what you can get off that way. Once you start to introduce other solvents or even just plain lukewarm water, you could run into trouble depending on what they are. That's why you need to have a correct identification and know what you're dealing with first. And a lot of you are doing that and making sure you know what you're dealing with by buying some of the products that I recommend, like the Presidium, of course, gem tester. So you make sure that you're dealing with gems and not something else. Remember, a lot of costume jewelry pieces, well, some are glass, the stones that look like gemstones, some are, of course, crystal, and others. You want to think about, again, white cotton cloth first. Try to get rid of the surface dust as you can. Don't scrape too much. Don't push too much either. When you push too hard, even with the cotton cloth, you could actually abrade or scratch off some of the surface. Would you think of selling the jewelry measuring gauge, or where would I get one? What would I think of selling the jewelry measuring gauge? Well, basically, when you're looking for measuring gauges, it's a good idea for you to check out our page. And of course, I want you to look there. That's at drloriv.com. It's easy to find the shopping and specials page on our website. But basically, if you're thinking about measurements, all those measurements are important. So if you don't know the measurement, if you don't have a way to, in fact, measure the millimeters, for example, on pearls, you really are hurting yourself because you're not giving enough information to your buyer. So I think that's your question, Rosemary. Type it in if I didn't get your question clear. But basically, you want to remember that you want to have all the tools to help you. And you need all these tools. Getting back to the pearls and the pearl image, first of all, you want to remember a couple of different things. For example, those knots, not any old string is the string that you want your pearls strung with. Silk cord is usually what's utilized for, of course, pearls of high quality, cultured pearls and such. Don't forget to watch that video about, of course, jewelry to do that. What can you look for to tell if a costume jewelry piece may have value? All right. Well, Rachel, there's a lot of cool things you can look for. You can look for the easy things, brand names, right? You can start with brand names. A lot of people collect a particular brand name, appraising things like, so many years of appraising pieces like Eisenberg, or of course, Miriam Haskell, or Heidi Carnegie or Ben Amun, or I mean, and there are a lot of those names and a lot of those on my website. If you, of course, go to my website and you read some of those pages, you're going to actually be able to see all the ones that I've listed with some of the marks. So that's one of the things I want you to look for. So look for the brand names. The same way you look for Tiffany, and if you were in a thrift store looking for Tiffany and sourcing, you'd say, oh my gosh, it's Tiffany. I want you to recognize those names too. I want you also to look for particular materials and particular marks. For example, the 14KP mark is a mark that I would be looking for, which is 14 karat gold plated, or 14KP. And P like in Paul, P like in plated. And that's one of the marks that a lot of you overlook. You don't always recognize. You say, oh, it's 14 karat, oh, it must be gold. That's not always what you want to be looking for. Hola from Argentina, ¿cómo estás? So basically what you're looking for there is those kinds of things. Other things you should look for in costume jewelry is, of course, the design. You want the design to be beautiful. I have a vintage Trifari flower brooch, and one of the petals came off. I have the petal. What do you recommend about getting it repaired, and what method would you use, or would it be worth repairing? Okay, it depends on the Trifari brooch. Okay, so you have the petal. That's great that you have the petal. That's unusual. But basically, it's going to depend on the brooch. Some of them would probably be worth it because, of course, of Trifari's market interest. People see Trifari, they want it. So it might be worth it. Now, here are some of the questions that you're up against. Who's going to repair it? Can you repair it? Do you know what you're doing? Will you damage the rest of the piece in the repair process? That's another issue. And again, you have to make sure that you know what you're working with in terms of metal. Are you going to solder it back? Is it metal to metal? Is it something that actually has to be reset? Like resetting a stone. How broken is it? Did you lose a piece of it, or has it just come apart and all the pieces are there? Sometimes when it breaks, it goes apart. So you want to be thinking about that. The other thing that I want you to think about is, in fact, the notion that some of these pieces, in fact, may not take a restoration or a repair well. So you have to look and you have to identify and investigate what is the material I'm dealing with. Am I dealing with a piece of plated brass? Am I dealing with a piece of enameled copper? What am I dealing with? So that's basically what you want to do. If you didn't check out the website yet, you really got to get there, drloriv.com. And while you're there, sign up for my newsletter. The newsletter will come to you in your email inbox. So the newsletters are chock full of a lot of information. It also will send you to the website so you can, in fact, learn a little bit more about all different topics when it comes to art, antiques, and collectibles and making money with your pieces. Yeah, Rosemary, to measure beads. Yeah, so that's usually like a caliper to measure something, of course, round. And there's lots of options for that. I think the more information you give a potential buyer, the better off you are. As a buyer, of course, I would want to be, if I were a buyer, I would want to say, oh, okay, I want to look at this piece and I want to know as much about it as possible. If you just say they're pearls, are they 8 millimeters? Are they 5 millimeters? Sometimes you can tell in a picture, but sometimes you can't. So make sure you give as much information as you possibly can. Robert, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And Mick too. Thank you for the super chats and the super stickers. They support the channel. And the channel does need your support. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. How to know the difference between sea pearls and sweet water pearls. Okay, a couple of different things about all these different types of pearls. In a video, I think it was last week, I was talking about something called rice pearls. There are rice pearls, there are seed pearls, very, very tiny. There are freshwater pearls. There, of course, are cultured pearls, all different types. Most of them have different shapes. Some of them have, of course, a different look or a different luster or a different sheen. Sheen and luster and look are all different. And then some of them, of course, have different sizes. There's Maube pearls. Pearls are very, very desirable. There's a reason why, of course, pearls in the history of jewelry collecting have been so desirable. So there are a lot of different things. Now, when you think of saltwater pearls, you're looking for those. Hello from Italy, Marco, and a couple of other things. And I'm happy to see the Europeans are here with me. You're up late. But basically, a couple of other things about that question. Don't forget that when it comes to these things, I want you to make sure that you know the different types. And knowing the different types is not difficult to do as long as you follow along with me, and I'll teach you which types. Sometimes seed pearls, for example, I think there's some seed pearls here actually on the table tonight here in the studio. I think there's some seed pearls. Let me get some gloves on. So like these, and you won't be able to see it, so don't go crazy. I can't see it, I can't see it, I can't see it. But basically, these are very, 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 very tiny. It's a ball full of them, and they're very tiny. They're literally so, so small. So seed pearls are oftentimes what you will find, for example, during a video call, and you know all about my video calls. During a video call last week, I actually was appraising a stick pin from the early 1900s with seed pearls, and it was in the shape of a question mark, and the seed pearls kind of went all the way up. Seed pearls are oftentimes given on occasions like weddings, or of course on the occasion of someone having the birth of their first child, because seed pearls or anything small like that is associated with innocence typically. But seed pearls are that. What's the most inexpensive way to get a large amount of jewelry valued? Oh, well, either a video call with me or our priority service, most inexpensive way to do it. Now, what gem tester do you recommend? I did buy the gem tester in the loop on your site. There is a gem tester on my site as well that I recommend. And that gem tester is very easy to find. You just go to drloriv.com, and when you hit the menu, the hamburger menu, if you're using a smartphone, click on that, and then you can see that on the very right-hand side, it says menu. That's the hamburger menu, the 3 little lines horizontal. Hit that, and then you'll see specials and shop will show up. Go to the specials and shops page and scroll down, and you're going to see, of course, the place where the loop is. And there's a little link below that says go shopping now, and the whole world of what I recommend opens up when you go shopping now. And you know, that's a wonderful opportunity. And there's lots of things about jewelry. I made a jewelry toolkit for you there at my Go Shopping Now page. And basically a lot of the tools that you need. And many of my clients have said, you know what, I went to that page, I got those tools and it's working. I'm upping my game. I get more emails of, I'm upping my game, Dr. Lori, I'm upping my game. I'm learning this. I'm finding the jewelry. And it really is one of the best ways to really make your money there. Having said that, I want you also to remember that, in fact, one of the things that I'm going to show you what I'm going to do is I'm going shopping with all of you. Do you want to thrift with me? Well, my upcoming video is going to have me thrifting for jewelry in, of course, favorite thrift shops. And if you want to be there, you could be there, of course, right when you watch those videos. Those videos are a lot of fun. And if you have a brick and mortar thrift shop and you want me to thrift with you for the channel, get in touch with us at drloriv.com, and I might be able to come thrifting at your shop too. So don't miss it. You don't want to miss what tips I'm going to give you when I go thrifting and you thrift with Dr. Lori. Having said that, other things about, of course, the jewelry. Which auction house is best for selling jewelry? Oh, there's many, 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 many ways to sell jewelry. So there's not one that's best. You know, it's like saying, you know, which, of course, gas station is best for getting gas, you know? So basically, a lot of them are quite good for jewelry. I like a lot of them. I also like the attitude where you guys are, in fact, utilizing the online operations. What does that mean? That's, of course, websites and using, of course, online auctions to do that. The most important thing about any time that you're trying to sell jewelry is I want you to know what you're selling. If you don't know what you're selling, then you're not going to be able to command top dollar, even if you're working with a great auction house, okay? You need to know where it is so you know what the value is, so you know whether or not the percentage that they're asking for the seller's premium is too high. You want to make sure that you're not getting into a situation like that. And recently I did a video call and a woman had bought a ring for $65. And she was thrilled and surprised when I said, I think that ring is worth a lot more than $65. And in fact, it was. So there's a lot of attributes to these pieces that you want to look for so you can recognize that. Now, she didn't recognize that. She went to an estate sale and she's looking for these things. And she said, I was very surprised that at the estate sale and at the auctions that these pieces are going so low. Why are they going so low if they're appraised by you and appraised by gemologists and such like that? Well, I'll tell you about my red nail polish very quickly. I have a little relative who's 3, and I every once in a while when I'm on the phone with him, and of course his grandmother, I let him pick a nail polish color, and he wouldn't let me get away with, you know, pink or beige, and he picked red. So red is where we are. I'm glad you like the color. One of the colors I have to do one of these nights, one of you guys had just one color, and I've got to do just one nail, one color. I have some vintage screwback earrings marked LP. I can find no information on that maker. Yeah, there are a couple of different makers that utilize the marks LP. And here's another tip for all of you. Don't forget that makers will change the way they use their mark. So for example, I'll use Ben Amun as an example. Ben Amun might have a B and an A, just the initials for his maker's mark. And also others might just say Ben Amun, just using that particular costume jewelry designer as a example. So having said that, the LP can be many different things. And when it comes to Native American jewelry, you won't be surprised if you know anything about Native American jewelry. Native American jewelry designers use the same initials often. Oftentimes, they are designers within the same family, and they go from there. Robert, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. It's very important that you guys do support the channel. I can't keep the channel up if you don't. Having said that, the Native American designers, sometimes you will see the same actual letters, the same initials used over and over by different people. So you have to start to learn, in fact, the style, the materials that they're using, the different types of metals. So the LP, for example, I need to see what piece you have, because your piece might be, oh, spiny oyster and coral and turquoise, and it might be a Native American piece, and that might be one particular designer, or it might be a piece that's in sterling silver or it's gold plated, and it might be by a totally different designer. It's a lot about the style, okay? What is that particular piece? So what do I think of Swarovski pearls? I like the luster. A lot of people like, of course, the luster of pearls. Thank you for the super chat. Mick, I appreciate you connecting the question with, of course, the super chat. But basically, when it comes to Swarovski, and we typically think of them with respect to the crystals, not the pearls, a lot of people will say, oh, I really like those because I like the look. And it really does matter how much they sparkle, how much they shine, and the contrast matters. So you could have something shiny, 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 but if that metal isn't contrasted well, for example, if it's not plated properly, or if there isn't enough there, then we're going to see that. Thank you very much for the super stickers and the super chats. I appreciate it. So think about that too. But I like those. I like that luster. I like the pieces that are well constructed, even if they are faux pearls, even if they are Austrian crystals, even if they are, in fact, pieces like that. So I really like those types of things. I want to see good construction. So I want to see, even in the faux pieces or in the costume jewelry arena, I want to see those individually knotted strings, right, on the pearl. I want to see a nice, strong clasp that I feel like, and I'm going to hear a click. I like to hear a click when I close a clasp. That's something of quality too. I am not crazy about pieces that have that hook. You know, it's something that they did, of course, in the 1940s, 50s, 60s to, of course, keep prices low, but that's what we're thinking about it. Trina, it was a nice appointment today. Yes, my video calls are very popular. I was happy to talk with you today. And of course, the technology works very, very well. It's easy to get, of course, connected with the video calls. Don't forget, the video calls work for everything. They work if you have a small amount of time and only a couple of objects, and they work if you have, you know, whole estates that you want to do. And the video calls, like if you have a piece of furniture, for example, that you want me to take a look at. That particular piece of furniture was extremely pricey, and I surprised, of course, the owner at that video chat. He had no idea that Grandma had that sleeper of a cabinet, very valuable, sitting there. Having said that, don't forget other things when it comes to jewelry. I like to hear the click. I don't like when the hook, like the clasp around the neck, the hook actually, that hook will actually hook into one of the pieces. That, what I mean by that is one of the set stones, and that's the hook. I like to see an actual clasp. So when I see that, I usually value those lower because the quality and the construction and the labor and the time and the money is not put into that. So think about what they've done in order to do that. When you look at a Hattie Carnegie or a Trifari or any of the great ones, when you look at any of those costume jewelry designers, I want you to look at how good the actual construction is. Sure, the design is wonderful and you want the design to be great, but you know, like an Eisenberg pin, that back of that pin is not moving. Once you secure that pin, it is not going anywhere. And there's a reason why the cream rises to the top when it comes to this. Some of the more inexpensive ones, you're going to be able to identify and say, oh, okay, the construction of this isn't very good. The way they made the piece isn't very good. Tyler, thanks very much for your super sticker and your super chat. You really are supporting the channel. I love to see it. You're helping yourself. You're helping us here make more videos that will help you. And I know you're all making money, and I'm thrilled. I want you all to succeed. Dr. Laura, you're awesome. Thank you very much. We Can we ever get a day in the life video? I think we would love to see behind the scenes and meet your team too. Well, that's nice, Mary. You can get a day in the life video. I mean, basically, there's a lot to it. I have to think about how we would do that. But sure, I mean, a day in the life, a lot of the day in the life is this. And a lot of the day in the life, of course, is making sure that I'm getting the information to all of you. But thank you. I'd love to know what questions you want to ask. I'm happy to give you the great information. That's what I want to do. I don't want to give you, oh, I love this. Oh, I love that. Well, yeah, you know, I love all of it. I love all of it. I wouldn't be studying it for years and years and years and doing this if I didn't love it. So I recommend the priority service for large amounts. Oh, well, thank you very much, Mary. For large amounts of jewelry, Mary actually did the priority service, and she's, you know, there's no testimonial that's better than someone who did it. So someone like you who did it, who succeeded. And of course, that is, I thank you very much for that. I'm happy that it's helpful. And thank you very much, Mystery, for the super chats and the super stickers. I appreciate your support. It means a lot. And it's going to help me to continue to give this information. I need to know this is the information that you want. So I see it from the super chats. Arizona, is it safe to use warm soapy water to clean my wife's costume jewelry? I want you to go easy on the water. I want you to go easy on the water. Not that you can't use it. And, you know, a lot of people like Dawn dishwashing liquid, and a lot of people like this dishwashing liquid, Dove, or a lot of people like specific ones. I am not giving you any of those kinds of recommendations, and here's why. When you put water onto a piece, what you start to do is you basically introduce, you're introducing water, which can break down any of the adhesives or any of the ways that one material is sticking or staying on that piece of jewelry to another material. So if you choose soapy water, I don't want it submerged. I don't like anything submerged when you're doing this. So if you're going to do it, I want the least amount, very, very little. And I don't want you to scrub and be very abrasive either, which I said before. So I want you to be careful of that. But warm soapy water is what a lot of people use. And I want you to just go easy. And I want you to sit down. People go, oh, you want me to sit down? Yes. When you are doing any of that, Diane, thank you very much for the super sticker. It was wonderful of you. It's very, very kind and generous. Thank you. It was good to talk with you today, a video call today. A couple of different things. I want you to sit down. And people say, why do I have to sit down? Because you're not standing up trying to do it over the sink. You know, like you're not trying to do something quick. You know, if you're going to clean something, I want a nice clean surface. I want you to protect whatever table that you're using. I want you to sit comfortably. I want you to have all your tools set out, all of your material, all of your products, whatever you need first. And I want you to go one by one. I want you to clean something, maybe it's a pair of earrings or a bracelet or whatever, and be done and have the accomplishment. Don't do half of some and half of something else. The other thing about it is I want you to try to do, and I know you're going to think I am an anal crazy girl. I know you're going to think that, but I'm not. I want you to do all the same type of materials, all the same type of jewelry together at the same time. So I want you to do all bracelets together, and pearls. I don't want you to put any pearls in water ever. I don't care if they're synthetic or of course, real fine pearls. No pearls near water, not near the shower. Don't ever try to clean them that way. That's not how you do it. So a couple of other things. I want bracelets together. I want earrings done together. I want all of that done together. And I want you to make sure if you're cleaning earrings that the posts, when you have the post, I want you to take the post off. They go in front of you. You clean the earrings. That post goes back. Okay. So don't in fact just do this one and that one and the reason why I want you to do it in order is because when you do it in order, what will happen is you will get better as you do the same type. And it's also less taxing on you. You're not saying, oh, I can't. And once you do one type of earring, like the cluster earrings, for example, I want you to do another cluster earring. Don't change from cluster earrings to pins to bracelets. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm sorry I missed something. You can't believe you were live with me last week. Thanks for what does DS mean on jewelry? Okay, so there are a couple of different reasons. So DS can mean a couple of different things. It can be a maker's mark. It can also indicate, of course, the actual material. So you want to think about that. Sometimes you'll see letters that you don't expect, like K, let's see, like KP, like KP, so that might be 14 karat KP plated, GP. Then it might be GF for gold filled. So that's different from gold plated. So you want to think about that. Sometimes you see a V for vermeil, which basically means that they've dipped 1/1000th of an inch of gold over the piece. You want to also look for numbers. Numbers can mean something too. The numbers you all know, like 925 in jewelry for like sterling silver, 925 parts per thousand, which I say all the time. Those kinds of things. I also want you to look and see if there might be a word on it. Maybe it says Japan on a clasp. That's very common. Or WG or West Germany. I have a brooch that's pewter. The only mark is a number 26 and no other marks. Okay, Felicia, a couple of things. Do you know it's pewter, or do you know that it might be a base metal, right? It might be actually a pot metal or a base metal that looks like a pewter kind of color, that grayish silver kind of color, or does it say pewter itself? Okay, so you want to be aware of that. Some pieces will say pewter and some pieces will look like pewter, and they might actually be a lead or other kind of silver color looking alloy. So you want to be careful of that. So glad you're enlightening us on cleaning costume jewelry. So many YouTube channels say soak in soapy water. Well, I know, I don't want to say, I disagree with a lot of other channels, and I disagree with a lot, but this is years of experience, and I've seen the damage. And once it's damaged, kids, guess what? You're not going back. Once it's damaged, you don't have it. And now you lost the opportunity. So you have to be careful of that. A lot of people like to soak in soapy water. Soapy water, you just have to be careful, because once that water gets in there, and I'm telling you, if you're going to make something wet, you better dry it off. You got to dry out that piece. If you're going to, of course, put that water on that piece, you've got to dry it. Now you have to have something to get into those little nooks and crannies to dry. That's difficult too. So I would say don't be overzealous. Are old world cut diamonds from the 1800s worth less than modern cut diamonds? No. As a matter of fact, most people believe that what are called rose cut or old world cut diamonds can have a better sheen or be a better diamond to start with. You know the history of course, diamonds. You know that some of the greatest diamonds, the ones that are, the Hope diamond, of course, at the Smithsonian, or the diamond that are in, of course, the crown jewels that, I was lucky enough to see, of course, in London, those kinds of things. Those particular stones were cut from major stones that were found, and then they're cut down and cut down and cut down. They're cut from a major diamond, a major discovery kind of diamond. So that's what you're looking for. If a diamond is European cut, if a diamond is rose cut, if a diamond is old world cut, typically these diamonds have different cuts, and different cuts indicate how they were made at a time when we had only certain technological advances to cut diamonds. Okay, so the way a diamond's cut will also impact its value. So will its clarity, its color, its carat weight. We all think about big diamonds. Is it big? Do I have a big diamond? That kind of thing. It's not only about size. While size matters, you of course have to make sure that you have these other aspects and elements too. So European cut, rose cut, old world cut. It's not about, is it always more valuable or less valuable than a modern cut piece? You could have a modern cut piece that they price very, very high, that's very expensive, that's, worth more than another particular old world cut diamond, but it's not, they're all worth more, they're all worth less. Am I being clear? So basically it's not, okay, if I have an old world cut diamond, it's always worth more than the modern ones. That's not the case. If I have an old world cut diamond, it's always worth less than the modern ones. That's not the case either. So that's important for you to know. And most, of course, GIA certified jewelers will be able to identify for you, of course, the old cut. I mean, I look at them all the time, and it's very easy to think. Old pawn. Old pawn jewelry is, I write about this extensively on the website, as I do about many jewelry topics, if you go to drloriv.com. But old pawn jewelry basically relates to the jewelry that, in fact, was traded, Native American jewelry that was traded in the late 18th, early 19th century, pieces that were traded for other things. So some of the old pawn jewelry is extremely desirable, very beautiful, wonderful pieces that lots of people are still looking for today. And they do come up on the market now. You find a piece of old pawn Native American jewelry, and it might be a very, very large Navajo ring. It might be a piece, for example, that has multicolors, gaspiite and spiny oyster or coral, or of course turquoise from some of the different mines. But old pawn people are looking for, and it's still available. We see it sometimes in some of the auctions for Native Americans. jewelry. I also see Native American jewelry coming out at auctions online, like, the auctions like Everything But the House, or it shows up at Goodwill or the Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity even. A lot of the thrift stores actually find that. I have a Thunderbird necklace, Navajo, with the initials RK. So RK can be, of course, a maker. And now you've narrowed it down if you know it's Navajo, because it's a little bit different. Your piece probably doesn't have those little tiny petty point like the Zuni, right? And the RK is easy to actually identify. I do need to see the piece. You can send me a picture. If I see the piece, then I'll be able to say, okay, it's this style, it's this initials, it's this particular jewelry artist. So that's easy for me to do for you. I'm confused with the 14 kp mark. Okay, I have a 14 kp pearl ring that is 14 gold. The jeweler told me the P meant plum gold. There are some that mean plum gold and some that mean plated. This is why you have this issue. So in fact, when you're talking about, of course, plated, you want to make sure that you're looking at that. A lot of times there are certain ones in costume jewelry, right? You're talking about fine jewelry now. I was talking about costume jewelry. It's going to say 14 kp. So that's what you're looking for too. What to look for is difficult. There's a lot to this. It's not like you just wake up and you know all this stuff. This is years and years and years of expertise. But what I also want you to remember is all of those marks mean something. I'm so glad you're learning a lot. That's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it so you can all learn a lot, and I appreciate you showing me the respect that you are in supporting the channel. It is wonderful to see museum pieces of jewelry. Taught me to museum pieces of jewelry and not taught me to wear my jewelry, not just leave it in the safe. Well, you have this jewelry, it was grandma's or something. Oh, I'm afraid to wear it. I can't tell you how many people in my life have said to me, Dr. Lori, you appraised that, but I'm afraid to wear it. It's going back in the safety deposit box, going back in the safe. I'm never going to wear it. I'm afraid to lose it. What are you doing with it? Let's get it. Make sure that it has security chains. Make sure that it's in good condition and wear it. Now, do you need to insure it? Some of it you need to insure, which is why you have to know how much you're actually wearing. What do you have on your hand? I was talking to a friend of mine, a person who I've worked with for many, many, many years in television broadcasting. And, she has a situation where, pieces were given to her from her family. And she said, Dr. Lori, thank you very much for the super sticker. I appreciate it very much. She said, Dr. Lori, I don't really know what to do. I'd like to wear it, but I'm afraid to wear it. And I really have to have a conversation with you about this. I said, you need an appraisal, but you need to talk to your insurance guy. Now, this is a family heirloom piece. This isn't a piece that, you found it in some, thrift shop yard sale at, the local estate sale or an online estate sale website and actually have a question about this. I've got this family heirloom and I don't want it lost. I want to deal with it properly. And that's when you really do have to have a conversation with your homeowner's insurance person who will in fact say, okay, well, you need an appraisal and then it's going to cost you this to get it insured. If it's an important enough and expensive enough and valuable enough piece, okay, then there are other pieces that maybe you just leave in the safe. And then you're careful that time when you actually wear it. And some of the things I always tell people, don't take it off. Once you put it on and you're going to that wedding or you're going to that garden party or you're going to that graduation, leave it on. Don't take it off when you're washing your hands in a public bathroom. Don't take it off to show someone, oh, can I just see it? Can I just put it on? No, you can't just see it. You can't just put it on. Oh, it's so pretty. I want to wear it. You can't wear it. It's on my hand for the day. Done. And when you're done, it goes back. And I know you go, oh, Dr. Lori, you're so bold. I have to be bold. You've got to think about this. These things are valuable. Can you tell us about the value of Tanzanite? It's really marketed in the Caribbean. It is. Will it really be as valuable in the future as they tout? All right. Well, April, that's a good question. If I could predict the future, well, I have predicted it on some things, but if I could predict the future, I would probably still be sitting here teaching you all this. But Tanzanite, a lot of people, they do actually promote it very much. They promote it in different places. A lot of people like Tanzanite. Why? It's the same reason a lot of you like colored glass. It's all about the color. There's also a reason why we saw this in the early 2000s. We saw this push of pink diamonds and, yellow diamonds, canary diamonds. when diamonds and black diamonds and chocolate diamonds, a lot of this, of course, is marketing of those pieces. Now, they're beautiful, and it's nice to have a different rainbow of colors, but in fact, the color is really why. Yeah, see, Tanzanite is her favorite. So it really has a lot to do with the color. Do I think it will increase in value? As more of you collect it and like it and promote it, that's how value gets increased. This is going to help you when you're thinking about selling anything, right? So the more conversation there is about it, the more people say, I like it, I have a piece, it's going to, of course, increase in value. So can I say it's going to increase as much as they are saying it will increase? We're not going to know that. But I will say that anytime something gets market visibility, and I say this about art all the time, I talk to a lot of people, particularly fine artists, about market of visibility, and you all need to learn it. And if you're a reseller, you really need to learn it. The more you get your piece marketed and it's visible in the market, the more you have a chance of increasing its value. What they've been doing for the last, I want to say 20 years, really, because, you know, I've been on many, many trips, of particularly to the tropics, and Tanzanite has been touted a lot. And some of the things that you see is that market visibility. All of you know Tanzanite now. Did you know Tanzanite, 25 years ago in the late 80s? No. You were looking at, and you weren't probably looking at things like peridot, and you probably weren't looking at citrines either. But all of those semi-precious stones have really gotten bumped up in the last, I'd say, 25 years. What's gold filled versus gold plated? Okay, filled and plated are a little bit different. When it's plated, of course, there is, in fact, the electroplating process. Here's something a lot of you don't know about electroplating. The electroplating process is not a modern process. Electroplating dates all the way back into the 18th century. That's the 1700s. So they would electroplate pieces way, way back. One of the most common types of electroplating is electroplating silver. We call it silver plate. Gold plate is a similar process, okay? So that's what you're looking at. Gold plating is, oh, I love you too, Kristen. Thank you, sweetheart. So a couple of different things. When you're thinking about plating, I want you to think about what they basically do, which is the electroplating process, where they take very, very, very thin sheets and plate something. And I like silver. I like gold plate. Now, I wear more gold than I do silver, but I have some silver pieces too. And I will say that when I'm evaluating pieces, I don't mind the gold plating, but I have had inexpensive costume jewelry pieces. Thank you, Catherine, for the super sticker. I appreciate you supporting the channel. It helps me to help all of you. And I know that you're all doing well, and that's what I want to hear about, how you're succeeding. So I have had an inexpensive piece of gold plate. It was a necklace. I will never forget it. It was not long ago. I want to say it was maybe 15 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And it was a necklace, and it was silver. It was gold plated over sterling silver. So it was still sterling silver. And all of a sudden I'm scratching my neck and scratching my neck and scratching my neck. And it was the gold was starting to flake off, and I was having a reaction to the gold plating. That is not a problem with the gold plating. That's a problem with the process of the gold plating. That's not that it wasn't really gold, and that's not that the sterling silver, because I'm not allergic to sterling silver, but it was the fact that it was coming off in these little bits that was upsetting my skin, or basically. So I want you to think about that too. If you have some kind of reaction, or if you see it. Now, a lot of you are not wearing this stuff. A lot of you are buying this stuff and then you're cleaning it or getting it prepared to list it and resell it. So, but I want you to be aware of that. And if it should be marked clearly about gold plate. But gold plate can also flake off if it's inexpensive. The piece that I actually had, I had that reaction to, that piece was actually a piece that was inexpensively made by a particular maker. So for me, I won't suggest those pieces again. Or maybe it was just a fluke, but usually that's not a fluke. Usually they're not doing it the proper way in the process. Hi, Dr. Lori. I have an Alfred Sung pair of clip-ons. Okay, they aren't marked gold, but when I wore them, I didn't react. Could it still be gold, even not marked as such? Well, usually you're going to mark gold. Now, here's what happens, though. The gold mark could rub off. Oh, no. Yeah. So it's 14 karat gold. It said 14 karat gold at one time, but they wore them and wore them and wore them, and the mark is actually worn off. That does happen. It's not common, but it can happen. So your particular set are not marked, but you didn't react. You mean you didn't have a negative reaction? You won't have a negative reaction to plate either, usually. Like I've worn gold plate, necklace, same place on my neck, obviously. Obviously, the necklace is going to go on my neck. But, same thing. And I have not had a reaction, even though that was gold plate. It was just by a different manufacturer. So that might be one of the things you think about. So the fact that you didn't have a negative reaction is fine. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for your support. In fashion jewelry, are you saying that gold filled is a better quality than gold plated? It depends on the piece. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. I know you all like generalities. I know you all like, this is the rule. It's always the rule. It's not always the rule. And that's something you should learn about art. You should learn about antiques. You should learn about jewelry. It's not always the rule. There's not one right answer for everything. Why? Because you're dealing with many, many different manufacturers doing many different things. I like the enamel work and think the enamel work on a piece of Renoir or Matisse costume jewelry is a lot better than some of the other higher end name costume jewelry designers who also use enamel work on their costume jewelry pieces. So most people would say, wait a minute, costume jewelry designer A is so much better than costume jewelry designer C or D, but not when you have a piece of enamel. When you're working with a piece of enamel jewelry that costume jewelry designer C or D made, they actually are better than A. Oh my gosh, now you have to know it all. And that's really where you are. And that's fine. That's when you have to compare and contrast. That's why you have to really look at different pieces. I love your questions. Keep them coming. This is Dr. Lori. I'm the PhD Antiques Appraiser. And don't forget, of course, to sign up for my newsletter. Don't forget, because there's lots of great information there. You can subscribe to the newsletter and sign up right under the free, thumbs up on my website, which is drloriv.com. Thanks for having the questions coming, and thank you for the super chats and the super stickers. You're helping to support the channel so I can make more videos and teach you what I know so you can make more money and collect those pieces for yourself that are beautiful and valuable. Can you tell me how to find a trusted appraiser? You're looking at her. I think that question, I should love that question, but that question is so simple. That question is me. You can get to me. It's so easy. We do it all the time. I keep all of the prices so low. The fees are so low to get my quality of education and experience and my straightforward, my straightforward style. So you're going to learn the real deal. Would a ruby ever have been set in a 10 karat gold ring? It could be. It could be set in a 10 karat gold. When I saw 10K, I'm thinking gold. Also remember that, of course, marks like English marks might be 9K. So if you have a piece from England, for example, it may not say 10K. It might be 9K or 15K. So different carat weights for fineness in different places. But yes, it could be. A ruby could be set in that. Sometimes they're Burmese ruby or such. My nails look fab. But that's what you're basically looking at. So it's possible, but not probable, right? They're not going to put a great piece usually in that, but I have seen it done on rare occasions. So I always say err on the side of being conservative, be careful, err on that side to see whether or not what we've got either way. So you might have that. It is unusual, for example, for a wonderful, great carat diamond to be in an inexpensive piece of metal. And also numbers of prongs is another tip. So, I give these reselling tips and I give, of course, tips for when you're looking for these things, what to look for. But one of the things that I want you to remember is if you only have 2 or 3 prongs holding together some stone, that stone probably is glass, and it's easy to test glass, of course, with the testers and the recommended products that I offer. But I want you to think about that. And of course, yes, when you buy a product from the website, I get a compensation, a small compensation for that. Is the product compensation, as you can imagine. And that helps to support the channel too. So a couple of other things I want you to remember about that. So is it rare that they're going to put a great stone, in just 2 or 3 little prongs in a inexpensive metal or a pot metal or a base metal? That would be rare, but it's not completely that they never do it. So I want to make sure I'm being clear on all of this. So again, not a yes or no answer for you. I'm sorry, but that's not how the jewelry world works. And sometimes I wear my mother's Mikimoto pearls at home of an evening because I just enjoy them. I think it's wonderful to put on those pieces. I'm not a mom. I didn't have children. I'm not married. I was never married. And I have my mother's ring, which I have sisters and couple of them are garnets, which are my birthstone. Some of my siblings were also born in the month of January. And I love to wear that ring around. It reminds me of her. She always wore it. She loved it. It was, oh, these are my kids, and it's not something that's my style, but I can see where you'd put on your mother's pearls and just walk around the house. Kathleen I didn't read that. I'm sorry. So basically, I would say, yeah, it's nice to do that. I think the way that jewelry sparks memories is very different from any other kind of antique art or collectible. They're very, very close to our hearts, excuse that pun. But basically, a lot of pieces, I have a lot of pieces that I really think of. Thanks for the appraisal today. I always come away with more knowledge. Oh, well, thank you very much, Tammy. I appreciate having the opportunity to do those appraisals for all of you. And all of you can send in pictures, of course, as you want to, and I'll review those too on our website. But again, the memory of it that it sparks is important. So I always remember, I have one sibling who in fact wore a particular ring, always had that ring on. And, whenever I see a ring like it, I think of that person. So that's an important kind of thing too. Is a black diamond for earrings valuable? Okay, so black diamonds, I become popular. I mean, I have some black diamonds, very, very small black diamonds. I think of diamonds, and I'm a purist. You know me, guys. I like a colorless diamond, free of course, as much carbon as possible. Black diamonds are popular. Chocolate diamonds are popular. And I think black diamonds are most attractive in earrings. I think the idea of the black, a lot of them are decorated. They're black diamonds, and then they also have either platinum or sterling silver or white gold, right, next to those diamonds. And then also what you might have is a contrast of black diamonds and then colorless diamonds, or what we might call clear diamonds. So you might see those as well on a lot of pieces oftentimes. I'm happy to take your questions. Keep them coming. This is Dr. Lori. This is Ask Dr. Lori Live. And I appreciate your super chats and super stickers. And I appreciate you being here and liking the channel. I have an NY on a piece of costume jewelry. That could be a lot of things. The easiest thing it is that it's a particular maker who works in New York. Sometimes they will actually put a place there. Oftentimes you also might see things like, also I want you to look at the marks. I want you to look at the actual. Thank you, Christine. I want you to look at the actual letters, because sometimes a letter might look like a different letter. The one I think of is the St. John letter. It kind of looks like a C, but actually it's an S and a J for St. John. So it kind of looks like a C. And when you look at that particular one, you probably have seen a St. John label or a St. John maker's mark or a logo on costume jewelry. And it looks like the letter C for cat, but actually it's an S because it loops around the bottom. And then they loop the whole sort of ring around it with the bottom of the S. And everyone goes, what's the CJ? What's the CJ? And I'm like, it's an S, and it's St. John. So some of them are hard. You have to start to learn them as you start to identify them. And the more costume jewelry you have, and even the more fine jewelry you have, you're going to start to see it. Then there's some basic ones like FAS, you'll see. Would a jewelry store say in a mall, fix one link that broke on a necklace, or would they laugh at me? Oh, no, I think a jewelry store that does repairs will fix anything. If not, they're not really a jewelry store that does repairs. Yeah, I mean, small little things, you mean, because it's such a minute or small damage. If it's a small repair, like they won't do it, they'll do it. If you pay them, they'll do it. I mean, they're not going to do something for free, probably, but I would think, yeah, they'll do it. If they don't, then you want to find somebody who really does repairs. A lot of them will be, within reason. Within reason, they'll do repairs. But most shops that do repairs are going to do it. Thank you very much, Patsy, for the super chat. I have a gold tone Robert Lee Morris necklace with 2 stingrays that dangle. Any thoughts on value? Where it may have been sold, like where it could have been sold originally? Well, a couple of different things. First of all, I need to see the piece. So I need to see size, I need to see material, I need to see the piece. Just because it's done by a particular maker doesn't make it, makes it worth this versus this. I don't want to give you a big, huge range. The other thing about it is, where could it have been sold? So think about what the piece is. So somebody who is wanting stingrays, right? So who's going to want a stingray, right? So you have to think about where is that going to be marketable? And that's going to help you to resell too. And this is where my years and years of experience with respect to reselling pieces is going to help you. So first of all, where is that particular unusual figural form going to be important, right? A stingray. So oftentimes you're going to see that mainly in the tropics. So maybe that was where that particular piece was going to be, again, promoted. And I mean stingray like the actual animal. Maybe you mean stingray like the car. So if you mean that, then you have a different kind of thing that you're looking for with respect to reselling. And whenever you're reselling anything, you want the piece to be presented in its best light. You want it to be in good condition. You want it to be clean if you can clean it. You want to make sure that you also have thought about all of the different people who might want the piece, right? So that's what I want you to think about as well. Thanks for that question. I have quite a bit of costume jewelry. Most are signed. I want to sell online, but wondering if it's best to sell as one huge lot or individually. Sell it individually. It takes more time. You'll make more money. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Well, that is how it's going to go. You could sell it as a lot, but you know what? Now you're asking someone to make a very big investment, and a lot of times they don't want to. It's the same reason that I've helped folks who are selling on their Etsy store, their eBay store, or their, Ruby Lane store, or whatever it might be, or their Poshmark store, who have said, well, Dr. Lori, I've got all of these pieces, and most of them are $20, but now I've got one and it's $650, and I want to sell it on that store with all the $20 pieces. And I'm saying, well, you know what? We need to find a different outlet for you, because while your Etsy or Ruby Lane or whatever store looks like a bargain store, now you want to put something really valuable in the bargain store and expect your bargain shoppers to want to pay that much money. When you sell a whole big lot, you might lose some. Stumbled upon you. Why are you stumbling? You should all be sharing. You should all be sharing. I'm happy you're stumbling. What is the procedure or on the website? Please and thank you. We would like to pay for a live video appraisal. Go to the website, drloriv.com. It's very simple. You can go to the specials and shopping page. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can do anything. And it's very easy to actually sign up for a video call appraisal with me. Simple. Go to the specials and shopping page, which is at drloriv.com. Just click on it. It's the red button right at the top. It's easy. It's not a button. It's red letters right at the top. And then you can see, of course, the top of the page on specials and shop, and it will have the video appraisal option. You can do it right there. Thank you very much. I'm glad you stumbled across me. And it is very easy. But the rest of you have to be sharing. A lot of you have been telling me, Dr. Lori, I don't want to tell everybody because, you're a good kept secret. If you don't share the channel, I can't continue the channel. You got to share the channel. We've got to continue to grow. And growing that community is going to help all of you. It's going to help me. It's going to help you. It's going to help everybody. And that's how we're going to continue the channel too. Elizabeth is back. My sister had jewelry in a bag that I saved, a diamond ring, $2,500, a 10-carat cameo oval necklace, and another 14. Yeah, well, your sister has jewelry in a bag because she didn't bother to figure it out. I'm going to help all of you. Show me the jewelry. Mary just showed you on the priority service. A lot of money was found, by showing them to me. It's easy to do. It's very easy to do. I'm answering your jewelry questions. It's great to be with you. This is Ask Dr. Lori. I hope you enjoy talking about jewelry. I sure enjoy talking to you. Thanks for all the super chats and the super stickers. See you next time.